A happy Monday to everybody. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. My name is Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. Hope you're feeling a lot better a few days removed from that awful, nightmarish loss for the Eagles against the Giants, and your weeks are off to a pretty good start. We have some breaking news to get to here, and this is a big talking point for Philadelphia moving forward and looking ahead to Week 7 against the Vikings and beyond. Edge rusher Za'Darius Smith, who the Eagles signed after Week 1, just surprisingly announced his retirement. He took to Instagram to say this: "I knew this day would come, but now that it's here, I'm feeling so many emotions I never expected. Who would have thought that a kid from Greenville, Alabama, with just 1 year of high school football experience, would go on to play professional football in the NFL for 11 incredible years? This game has given me the opportunity to meet great coaches, compete alongside some of the best players ever, and represent some of the greatest organizations in the league. Football has transformed my life and my family's lives forever, and for that, I'm forever grateful. This career has taken me across the world, from earning my first passport stamp to visit countries I only saw on maps, to helping me start a foundation that gives back to my community. There have been challenges along the way, but the rewards have outweighed them all and helped me learn, grow, and evolve as a man. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required." Luke 12:48. Then he went on to thank fans. To the fans, the biggest thank you of all. To every fan for each organization I represented, thank you, thank you, thank you for everything. From wearing my jerseys, collecting my cards, sending letters, sharing your opinions, good and tough ones alike, and most importantly, showing love, I felt it all. As I step into the newest season of my life, please know this game has meant the world to me. The lessons learned on and off the field, they will stay with me forever. Love, Z. And then he put down all the jersey numbers he wore throughout his career: number 90, 55, 99, and with the Eagles, number 52. And the Eagles partially brought him in because he's a high-character player. You can see with that message right there, a high-character dude. And he went on to have a very impressive career. Not a Hall of Fame career, but a really good career. He was a 2015 fourth-round pick out of Kentucky after he transferred there. He was a second-team All-Pro in 2020, a three-time Pro Bowler, 70.5 career sacks, played some high-level football for some great organizations: Baltimore Ravens, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, last couple of years with the Browns and the Lions, this year with Philadelphia, and those 70.5 career sacks coming in 145 games and 98 starts. Now, as part of the bigger picture for the Eagles here, is this a sign, him retiring, that Howie Roseman is about to make a move? Did Za'Darius Smith call it quits because the Eagles approached him about making a move and they said, hey, we're going to try to make a trade. Maybe we have a trade in the works, and the corresponding roster move might be cutting you. According to Diana Rossini, that is not the case. And that's something that originally went in through my brain, right? Or that I thought about because this came out of nowhere. I mean, the Eagles are getting ready to play the Minnesota Vikings, one of his former teams, and he's just like, all right, I'm done. But Rossini reports, I'm told Za'Darius Smith's decision to retire is a personal one. It has nothing to do with the Eagles. Now, again, big picture here, macro, not micro, this is a concern for Philadelphia. Za'Darius Smith led the Eagles' edge rushers in sacks, and getting after the quarterback from the edge rusher spot was already a glaring need. Along the interior, Jordan Davis playing well. Jalen Carter, when healthy, still a highly disruptive player, one of the best young players in the sport. If you drafted defensive players who are young and all 32 teams in the NFL could line up to draft young players on the defensive side of the ball, Jalen Carter would be a top 5, top 10 pick, right? Moro Ajomo having a really good year. But at the pass rusher spot, edge, you have Nolan Smith on injured reserve. Jalix Hunt does not have a sack. Azeez Ojulari was a healthy scratch the first month. He's been active the last 2 games. Results kind of mixed. Josh Uche's been a solid rotational guy. Patrick Johnson has more so been a special teams guy throughout his career. Za'Darius Smith had 1.5 sacks to lead the Eagles' edge rushers, and now he's retiring. And he graded out pretty damn well. According to Pro Football Focus, a 79 overall grade that ranked 23rd among 170 edge rushers, pass rush grade of 75.9, that ranked 21st. Run defense grade of 69.5, that ranked 31st. All starting caliber numbers right there. 10 pressures, 6 hurries, and then PFF doesn't count half sacks. So they gave him 2 sacks instead of the 1.5 that you'll see on other databases. And so for the Eagles going into this Week 7 game on the road against the Vikings, you have Kevin Patullo, inexperienced offensive coordinator who's under fire and on the hot seat, going up against Brian Flores, one of the top defensive coordinators in football. Minnesota, one of the toughest environments to play in. The Vikings do have quarterback questions because J.J. McCarthy and Carson Wentz are hurt, but you're going to have to generate a pass rush. You got to get after the quarterback. And without Za'Darius Smith, the only 4 edge rushers available for the Eagles on the 53, Jalen Hunt, Josh Uche, Azeez Ojulari, Patrick Johnson. That's not good. And this Eagles pass rush as a whole, the results are mixed. They only have 9 sacks this year. That ranks 25th among the 32 teams. The Denver Broncos have 30 sacks, number 1 in the NFL. That's a 21 sack difference between 25th to number 1. The Eagles do have 113 pressures. That ranks 5th. They have 73 hurries. That ranks 3rd. Their pressure rate, 11.67%. That's 7th. But their sack rate, 0.93. That's 27th. To pass along the words of the great John Gruden, I don't care about pressures. Get the quarterback on the ground. Eagles pressure the quarterback. They hurry the quarterback. They have a good pressure rate, but they can't finish these plays. And they can't sack the quarterback. Why is that a problem? Well, you think back to Thursday, right? You had Jackson Dart dead to rights on a couple of occasions. He escapes, either makes plays with his feet, or he makes a play downfield after improvising, extending the play with his feet, breaking contain. And this has been a constant problem for the Eagles all season long. And it's a big reason why this Eagles defense has started to struggle a little bit. It doesn't help that the Eagles lead the NFL in 3-and-outs offensively, so this defense is playing a bunch of snaps, and they're simply getting exhausted, especially toward the end of games. And then against the Giants, you just saw that they tapped out early, physically, mentally, spiritually, partially because they're tired. But this Eagles pass rush needs to bring it. But right now, it's a lack of talent and lack of personnel. And as we always like to say, the pass rush and the back end, meaning the secondary, always tied together. You get after the quarterback, your back end's job is easier. They don't have to hold up for so long. You can't get after the quarterback, and the quarterback has all day to go through his reads, his progression, survey the field. Receivers at some point are going to get open as they extend the play with the quarterback. Cornerbacks can't hold up for too long. And so these are concerns for this Eagles team moving forward, because right now at corner also, Quinyon Mitchell hamstring, Keely Ringo trash, Adoree Jackson should be cut. Cooper DeJean, all-pro caliber player. He can play inside, outside, but right now, you just don't have a ton of depth at the corner spot. You're also dealing with injuries there to Quinyon, but also Jacorian Bennett. And so for this team right now, you think ahead to the NFL trade deadline. After Week 9, going into Week 10, pass rusher is a priority because it also helps your back end if you can get after the quarterback. The Eagles won a Super Bowl in 2017 with Ronald Darby as their number 1 corner, right? So a big theme that year, they were able to sack the quarterback and generate pressure. Right now, though, they're not doing that, and they're not playing well on the back end. Double whammy. So coming up next, will Howie Roseman make a move? We're going to talk about a former Eagle who the Eagles could bring back, and also some trade targets. Let's get to our sponsor, though. Really appreciate Prize Picks for making today's Philadelphia Eagles now possible. The best daily fantasy sports app in the game. In fact, it's America's #1 fantasy sports app. Join the millions of users. Sign up today. Pick, predict, play. Turn your takes into cash with Prize Picks. They also have a couple of new features. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. You want to pick more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. Follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app. Copy their lineups in one click, whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just somebody whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. You can get your picks in less than 60 seconds. And here's a look at how the more or less game works. Monday Night Football doubleheader tonight. Atlanta, Buffalo, Washington, Chicago. Let's go with more on the Bijan Robinson rushing attempts at 15.5. Less for Keon Coleman's receiving yards at 39.5. More on the half interception for Caleb Williams. And then more for Ja'Cory Bill Krosky-Merritt on rushing and receiving touchdowns at 0.5. Pick more, pick less. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right. I know some people might say, Chase, you're crazy. Hear me out, though. After Za'Darius Smith retired, a free agent and reunion possibility, Eagles legend Brandon Graham. You think about what's going on with this Eagles team right now. Tensions are brewing. The Eagles look tired. They look worn out. There's been some drama. Brandon Graham is the perfect individual to help calm down some of that chaos. He's done it before. He can do it again. Last year, when A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts were clashing because A.J. was frustrated with this offense, it was BG who went on the radio to voice what was really happening. Things got figured out. Eagles found their groove as a pass game late in the regular season. Then after Hurts came back, NFC title game and in the Super Bowl, he was great. A.J. Brown was happy. Now he's unhappy again. It's always wide receivers. The Eagles also signed Za'Darius Smith to be a veteran for this young group. They specifically put his locker around young players so that he could help to lead. That is BG's specialty. Leads the Eagles organization in games played. He's number 3 all-time in sacks. And Brandon Graham in 2024 played well. Overall PFF grade of 78.6. Run defense grade of 80.1. Pass rush grade of 71.9. He had 20 pressures, 13 hurries, 4 sacks. He did tear his triceps week 12 against the Rams. So he did all of this prior to that injury. And against the Rams, he was balling out. And then obviously that injury happened and he came back for the Super Bowl, then re-injured that triceps. BG did say on PHLY recently that Howie isn't calling. He was asked about maybe coming back, and he said, come on now. Howie's not calling, but he has been staying in shape. He slimmed down a little bit, so he'd probably need to add some bulk. He knows this scheme, and you can plug and play him, and he'd be able to at least make an impact for 10 to 15 snaps in a ball game, I believe, if he wants to do it. Other pass rusher trade targets for the Eagles. This is a vast list of a bunch of different players, a bunch of different ages, under different contract situations. You have some star players on this list that we'll go through, obviously. Trey Hendrickson. He's been phenomenal this year. He did leave that Bengals-Packers game with a back injury, but he's been highly productive once again. And the Bengals, only have one win this season. Joe Burrow's not coming back until December, and I think that they should sell. And they've told us they don't think Hendrickson is a part of their long-term plans. They didn't sign him to a contract extension when he wanted one. They just gave him a pay raise and guaranteed a salary for 2025. He's clearly expendable for a team that is going to sell. Maxx Crosby, wasting his career away with the Las Vegas Raiders. He'd be the perfect Philadelphia Eagle. The way that he plays is like how Brandon Graham played, how Trent Cole played. A relentless pursuit, not just to be great, but on every single play, he's emptying the tank, giving it his all. He has a deep pass rush arsenal. He's a truly elite player, and he'd be able to really transform this Eagles defense. You have Bradley Chubb on another one-win team for the Miami Dolphins. This year, he's come off that torn ACL that he had last year. He's played in all 6 games. He started all of them, and he has 4 sacks. And I think that he could be a logical target for Howie Roseman. You look at the winless Jets, Jermaine Johnson, Will MacDonald, both really good young players. It's not like the Jets don't have talent. They do, and I like the game of Johnson and MacDonald. Jaelin Phillips, another player on the one-win Miami Dolphins. He's come off that torn Achilles. He's looked pretty solid. Carl Granderson is in his late 20s. He's on the one-win Saints. He has 4.5 sacks this season. I'm putting Myles Garrett on here. Obviously, he demanded a trade this offseason. That actually happened the Monday of Super Bowl week when we just got to New Orleans. And he said that he wanted out. He remained firm on that. And then the Browns said, you know what? We'll make you the highest paid defensive player in the history of football. And he said, okay, I'll sign. But the Browns are awful. They have only won one game this season. Oddly enough, they beat the Green Bay Packers. Could the Browns fully sell? They've already made a bunch of moves. They're clearing up a lot of cap. They still owe Deshaun Watson a lot of money. This is crazy, but they're paying like 9 quarterbacks right now, players who are on their roster and off of it. Could they trade away Myles Garrett? Howie Roseman showed interest in him this offseason. It was a big talking point. Another player along Cleveland's defensive line is a former first-round pick in Joe Tryon. He was taken in the first round by the Bucs. He didn't work out. Probably not a starter, but a solid rotational player who the Eagles liked in the pre-draft. And then could the Eagles bring back Derek Barnett? I know that he was known as Derek Personal Foul Barnett, but a solid rotational player who plays with a lot of hustle. He's a pretty productive pass rusher. The Texans are getting reinforcements back at the edge rusher spot. They're already loaded at the pass rusher position. That can make Barnett expendable. That wouldn't cost all that much. And so obviously some of these players are stars. They'd require high-end draft capital and a big financial commitment. Some of these other players wouldn't cost or demand as much in a trade as far as draft capital given up and financials. But the Eagles and Howie Roseman are very aggressive. They know that they have a Super Bowl roster right now. They have holes on defense. You hope that the personnel on offense can get it right. But right now, if you can't get after the quarterback and you have a suspect secondary right now and your injury ravage at the edge rusher spot, you simply might need to make a move. And one of my issues with Howie this offseason, you let Josh Sweat go. You were never giving him $19 million. You were never paying Milton Williams $26 million per year. But you didn't replace those players. Now is Howie's opportunity to do that. You tried to be cheap with za'darius Smith. He retired on you. Not going to say he quit. He retired. So I think you need to make a move here. And there are a lot of options out there for teams who could sell going into the deadline to help you improve your pass rush. So what say you? Does Howie Roseman need to make a trade? T for trade, P for pass. That's the big question. It's the pinned comment. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you back here in a little bit.